Welcome everybody. It is that time of year once again. This is the fourth place match, one of my favorite and the most exciting matches of any CALLOUS Invitational. This is the match that determines the one guy who's going to be so close to the money, the closest of anyone, without actually getting it, and the other guy is guaranteed money, and who knows what they could do. We've seen Linear win this tour from the lower bracket twice. Certainly winning in this round and getting yourself into the top three, boundless possibilities. This is a huge match. These guys extremely familiar with each other. They're friends. They're two of the absolute top current and all-time ladder players. They've played each other a million times, and this is an unfortunate pairing. I doubt they wanted to play against each other, but this is the way it's going to have to go. In Hclat's case, he has been this close the past 2 years. This is his third year in a row that he has been very deep in this tournament. He has not yet managed to make any money in this tour, but he is so close every damn year. Is this finally the time? If that were the case, he would set us up for an unprecedented All-American top three alongside ABR and Marco P. Standing in the way of the All-American top three is the Singapore-born, England-residing Altina, having a career year. He's qualified for the Classic playoffs on the back of his Classic GSC Cup championship, which was unprecedented. A lot of people didn't even know that he played GSC, but he wins the whole damn cup, qualifies for playoffs, and makes an incredible run. Last year in his CALLOUS Invitational debut, 1-2, pedestrian, out of here. But this year he has stepped it up in a huge way. He's eliminated Star Master, the tournament favorite in the previous round, and he is now one victory away from guaranteed money in CALLOUS Invitational 5. Enormous matchup. Cannot wait to see how it plays out. Let's get to it. So we are still in the best of three stages for this round only. After this round, we're moving to best of five. Hclat's on the bottom, and he pulls back his lead meta against the lead Zapdos of Altina. Altina's comfortable to stay in, and he is going to opt for the Thunderbolt. Incoming Lax takes it no problem. Meta going to come back in, and it takes 46% from that T-Bolt, and we see that it does have leftovers. T-Bolt again, and just the Psychic, not an explosion, so obviously a favorable transaction for Altina. Back to Lax, and Thunderbolt again. That's the only thing he's done, just every single turn, Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt yet again, 5 times now. And it's going to be met with a double edge for 60%, but of note, some hefty recoil as well. Finally, Altina does something other than Thunderbolt. He pulls it back to Meta. That comes in on double edge. Doesn't do nearly as much, of course, and we see that Meta does have lefties. It'll outspeed Lax here, threaten the kill. Here's the Moltres switch. Meteor Mash resisted, 28%. Attack raise almost certainly irrelevant here. Can't imagine Meta stays in. Goes for Protect. Sure, you could stay in to do that. But beyond that, gotta get out of the way. Does reveal Overheat on the other end, so now that he knows that it's that instead of like a flamethrower, gonna have to tread carefully. I guess Blissey makes it pretty simple, pretty safe switch into Moltres here, regardless of what fire attack was coming. And even the mighty Overheat does only 28% to Blissey. There's no sand in play right now, so she is A-okay, even bulkier than she would normally be. She's going to S-toss on the switch to a Cloyster. This looks like a very comfortable and familiar team. This is an Hclat team if I've ever seen one. Very much his style. Altina yet to reveal too much. Half his team's still dark. But so far, I think I like Altina's position a little better, especially now with this Thunderbolt kill nabbing the meta. So the lead goes to Altina in Game 1 of this crucial best of three. Skarmory comes in at this point. Safe old Skarm Bliss coming for Altina. There's a yawn from Lax, a little awkward and techy. I doubt Altina stays in. Indeed, he does not. He's got a very safe team here, getting the doll in, though it does not match up well 1v1 against Cloyster. Zapdos comes at this point, And it's going to be a surf, 21%, because there is no sand right now. Zapdos would live another. Doll comes in for Hclat, so they both have one of those. And finally, something that wants to come in on Thunderbolt does exactly that. Skarmory comes in at this point, and Psychic for Hclat, not what he wants to do. That's going to bounce off Skarm and do very little. And now Skarm has the opportunity to Toxic or Spike or whatever it wants to do. Does opt for the former, Toxic. And that's going to land on the incoming Cloyster here. Not that there was a great switch in to the Toxic for Hclat. It was only the possibly Immunity Snorlax. Everything else doesn't really care for it. They trade Spikes, 2 layers to 1, advantage Hclat. Zapdos in at this point. And Moltres in as well. The double switch favors Altina. Moltres obviously does not like this matchup. Stab Thunderbolt would do a ton, possibly even kill it. And he's going to stay in and go Overheat anyway. Fair enough. 31% to the incoming Blissey is a decent chunk, but she's safe here and can get a soft boiled off, and there's not a lot Hclat can do to stop that. The best thing he's got is switching to his Lax on the soft boiled. Blissey back up to basically full health, and Lax comes in 42%, now 21% after S-Toss. Gonna go for the Yawn and maybe force a switch, but this does not seem that exciting for Clat. It definitely feels, despite the Spike's disadvantage, like Altina is clearly ahead at this moment. Hclat does make a nice play by yawning again here, so the Claydol, if it spins, will fall asleep. Instead, he makes the aggressive play of going for Earthquake, but Hclat doubles down and says, fuck the yawn, I'm booming. So he trades with the doll that did not get a spin-off, and for a moment, Hclat's got to feel real good about that, but then he's going to be met with another spinner. Now, this could be an off-star, but it also could just be a rapid spinner. T-Tar might deter it from just rapid spinning. And yep, the T-Tar is a big enough threat to make it so Altina's not comfortable spinning. Does go for the attack, the Surf. The fact that it's Surf and not Hydro Pump makes me think that it's not an off-star. Claydol appears, blanks a Thunderbolt, sure, but we know it doesn't want to eat a stab Surf here. Full teams have been revealed for both guys, so they can make more informed decisions at this point. And it's going to be Surf and Boom respectively for the trade. So now, even though Altina had potentially 2 spinners there, I believe those 2 layers of Spikes are going to remain. So it leaves us in a 4-3 situation with Altina down on Spikes but ahead in the game. Blissey seems increasingly difficult for Hclat to deal with. Cloyster can boom on it, and maybe, depending on the kind of tower it is, it could set up on it. But all those things carry their own risks, and the Moltres is walled all day by the Blissey. Cloyster comes in at this point, and it is the soft-boiled for Altina. Does not make the aggressive play in going for the S-Toss there, which would have killed the Cloyster. Cloyster's faster here, so need to be careful. And there is just some Spikes. So layer number 3, because why not? But Cloyster does not boom on the way out, and it's about to get fried by Zapdos. Indeed, it's Thunderbolt, which Hclat has no switch into, and Cloyster goes down. Now it's T-Tar, seemingly the last hope for Hclat. He finds himself at a 2-4 disadvantage, but a DD-Tar potentially could sweep here. Toxic, not what he wants to see. It is a DD-Tar, so there is a chance, but we know that it's Protect meta on the other side, which is really obnoxious when you're suffering from the Toxic poison. Rock Slide is the right prediction. Zapdos goes down, but I think Altina will be able to stall this out. Here is the meta, the Toxic kicking down. It would have to be like Rest or something on the T-Tar to somehow not get stalled out here. Doubles back to Moltres, anticipating Protect. That's not what happens. We get a Meteor Mash instead. Altina, I think, did that to cover both the Moltres switch and the potential DD from Hclat on the predicted Protect. Now it's Flamethrower. That would probably be good enough, though it is probably a bulky meta since it has Protect. The problem remains that Moltres can't break Blissey, but Hclat goes to T-Tar thinking Blissey will come in, and he's correct. The Nurse steps on 3 layers of Spikes, down to 76%. T-Tar still poisoned, of course, from before. Back to Moltres, hoping to catch something other than Bliss, and that is not what happens. Instead, the bird catches an S-Toss here. Hope dwindling for Hclat. needed to get the meta in or the Skarn. Basically, Bliss had to switch out is what Hclat was playing for there, but it didn't happen. And now another S-Toss. I think that probably seals it. The only way that Hclat could maybe win is if the Blissey stays in here and gets crit and dies. Then maybe the Moltres can clean up. But Altina knows better. He doesn't even chance it. He goes straight meta, does not even risk the Blissey here. And that should all but seal the game from my view. Very hard to imagine Hclat coming back in this one. And game one is looking like it's going to go the way of Altina. Hclat not ready to concede, but it looks just about over to me. Here's the Skarm. Sacrifice, sure, it actually survives the flamethrower, but it's not relevant here. He makes the switch for purposes of sacking it and getting the Bliss in safely, and Seismic Toss becomes a move that Hclat does not have a great answer for, all things considered. Even if it were a Morning Sun Moltres, which it's not going to be, it would be an underwhelming 25% recovery because of the presence of the sand. There's no way out of this. Here's the T-Tar switch. Soft-boiled occurs. I guess max roll crit rock slide against a modest Blissey. I just don't see it. There's the meta switch. Earthquake is the right prediction, but the crit that he was hoping for doesn't come. Toxic about to kill the T-Tar. If that were to occur, it would leave us in a one-on-one between Moltres and Blissey. Obviously, we know who wins that situation. Hclat playing it out till the very end. I applaud him for doing this, but I do believe it's over. Like I said, here's the Moltres switch. Maybe he can overheat crit here for the miracle. If he were to land the overheat crit, he can win here. This is why you don't concede. He goes for it. A crit would have been good enough, but it does not come. Hclat gave himself a shot. He plays for every little out. If he crits overheat there, he would win. He just sacks the T-Tar to the meta, and then he finishes off the meta when the Moltres comes back in with Flamethrower, and that would be that. So I really applaud Hclat in a bad situation, playing to give himself a chance, however small, but the crit does not come, and in a close one, Altina takes game one. Like I said, this is a best of three, so should Altina take this next game, Hclat will be eliminated as our bubble boy, as our fourth place finisher. It'll be 3 CALLOUS Invitationals in a row where he is so close and yet so far, and Altina will disrupt the all-American top 3 that Hclat is trying to make a reality. There's at least $400+ or more to the winner of this match, so a lot on the line. The loser gets nothing. Let's go to game 2. Meta? Oh my god. You have got to love the balls on this guy. You have got to love Hclat. Down a game, down 0-1 with his tournament life and hundreds of dollars on the line. This guy leads fucking Glalie. You have got to have some balls to do that, and he plays it amazingly and gets 2 layers and trades for Metagross. Huge plays from Hclat. However, this play is not what he wanted. He was gambling that his meta was going to be faster than the Claydol and be able to boom on it before it gets a rapid spin off. But that is not what occurred, and it ends up in a 2-2 situation rather quickly. Heracross subbing up for Altina. Hclat throwing a fire punch at him. Gets Rock Slid here, but it's a relatively bulky Gar, taking it okay at 42%, able to hang in there and Fire Punch again. Ludicolo, that we've seen a couple of in this tour, makes an appearance for Altina here, but we don't really get to know what it wants to do because it gets immediately blown up on. This one way quicker than the previous. We've got half the Mons in the game dead before we hit turn 10, and now we've got a Heracross, or we did have a Heracross, Mega Horning into a Coon that instantly kills it with the Hydro Pump. We've got ourselves a tight one here, much faster than the previous game. Now we have 2 Coons calm-minding up on each other. Faster one seems to belong to Hclat. Hidden Power, Grass or Electric, super effective, does about a 4th. Altina takes the boost advantage here with a second Calm Mind. Hidden Power again, this time 20%. And there's Calm Mind number 3 for Altina. This one fast and furious. Not looking like this one is going to go too far beyond 25, 30 turns with the way this is playing out. Ice Beam hoping for a freeze. That would certainly be a great out for Altina if you could find it. Hidden Power 15% now. And he's giving up on the freeze. He's going for the kill with Surf. Next one will be good enough if he can survive. Now Hclat going for a freeze and gets it. That is going to really put Altina on ice. Stop his momentum completely. And that's going to let Hclat go aggro. Altina doesn't thaw, and down goes the Coon. Leaves Altina with only one Pokemon. Salamence is a damn good one. Will it be enough? No, it is outsped by the Coon. That's a fast Coon and a slow as dirt Salamence. And just like that, sub 20 turns, it's the Game 2 victory for Hclat, sending us to what all the fans want to see, a decisive Game 3 in which the winner gets over $400, possibly more. They could win the whole damn thing and win over $1,000, and the loser is out with nothing. Gonna be an exciting conclusion to this series. Will it be the All-American top 3, or will Altina having a career year, having the best competitive Pokemon year he's ever had? Will he break through to the top 3 of this tour and make that sweet cash money? All comes down to this game. Let's find out. We'll switch the sides for continuity one more time. Hclat on the bottom, Altina on the top. They both stay in with their lead Meta and Mence respectively and trade a Fire Blast for what seems to be a CB Meteor Mash. Advantage Hclat, and he follows it up with a critical hit on Skarmory. And the next mash hits as well. 2 fast kills for Hclat. Yes, there are spikes down, but Hclat with the clear 5-4 advantage very early on. See if he's got a spinner. He deters Aerodactyl from staying in with his Vaporeon, which is now going to sub up. Hclat, as we have seen, is not afraid to bust out his baton pass cheese. We saw it in the Game 3 against ABR, which was just like this match, where it was money guaranteed should he win. And it wouldn't surprise me if he did it again, but that was a terrible paralysis. 10% chance of that happening. Awful time to get paralyzed. Does get a substitute up, though, so this is redeemable if he's got Focus Punch. And he does. Double Edge pops the sub. No! Disastrous time for Hclat to find a full para. The Focus Punch there would have nailed the Aerodactyl, probably killed it, but the full para at a terrible time. He gets a Rock Slide off, but that is no consolation. Aerodactyl's health doesn't matter. It's either alive or it isn't, and it is. And Altina now looks like he's in decent shape. He has stabilized this game at 4-4. However, the game just got much closer again because his spikes advantage is spun away. We've got ourselves a 4-4 with 2 unreveals for both. This just got much closer. Wouldn't have it any other way. Meta gets revealed for Altina. And now he doubles back to Bliss. Acid Armor, which he tried to pass before. Shall he pass it again? Acid Armor number 2. Something is going to have a whole lot of defense, and that blows. Vaporeon leaves itself open for Toxic, even though it has sub, and Altina misses. There have been some critical hacks here both ways. Thunderbolt pops the sub. Where is he trying to go with the Acid Armor? He subs again. And it's Thunderbolt again, which again will pop it. So curious what his last 2 are. Where does he want to go with these Acid Armors? Sub and pop once again. Altina not trying to get cute with Toxic. He will continue to spam Thunderbolt here. Hclat tries for a 4th time in a row. And Altina simply continues to click Thunderbolt. Hydro Pump, willing to die? Toxic, interesting. Does not go for the killing blow with Thunderbolt there. Now will he pass the Acid Armors? No. Hydro Pump again. And Toxic again. Altina over-predicting, trying to catch the switch or the BP with the Toxic. Hydro Pump again, 3 for 3 on hitting those. And again, Toxic for Altina. Stubborn mind games for both players. Vaporeon down to 2%. And again, Hydro Pump. He doesn't pass. And again, Toxic for Altina. Bound and determined to catch whatever the hell the switch would have been with that poison. He does it 4 times in a row. There's no Dugtrio follow-up for Hclat. This does nevertheless prompt the last poke for Altina to be revealed. Raikou is going to force out T-Tar. Substitute comes down. Thunderbolt, about a third. And an Earthquake from what we now know is a physical Tar. The presence of that Earthquake should scare the Raikou away. And it does. Back to the doll. Last poke still unknown for Hclat, and a swing and a miss as Altina attempts the Earthquake on the levitating doll. Now it's Aerodactyl again. And Hclat misses the opportunity. Psychic there would have sniped it out, but he's not able to predict that. That's going to let Altina get a big double edge off, and it absolutely matters here. That's going to do a whopping 70% to the doll and make it way more difficult for the doll to potentially check the T-Tar the way it had been. Goes aggro here, Earthquake on Bliss. Doesn't boom there because A, he may not have it because he has Rock Slide, and B, he does not want to boom into the Metagross, which Altina may have been baiting him to do. But he doesn't go for it again. He opts for Raikou here, but instead of a 30-something% Bliss like before, it's now against a full health Blissey, which is a much bigger issue. Here's the T-Tar switch just in case, and there's the sub. Last time Thunderbolt did about a third. There's no reason not to go for that again here. The problem is Claydol is no longer realistically able to check this T-Tar. So if it is a DD Tar, even if it does get a little low, it could potentially still clean this up for Altina later in the game. Goes to Salamence here, and in real time he took over 2 minutes to do that, but now it's Altina missing the opportunity to predict. Could have nailed that with Rock Slide, but he whiffs on Earthquake as the Mence comes in. All cards on the table, and we've got ourselves a Dragon Dance for Hclat. We are setting ourselves up for an exciting conclusion here, one way or another. Multiple dangerous pokes on both sides. Rock Slide. Flinch! That sets him up for a crit or a flinch for victory. Alternatively, he could simply survive the Ice Beam. Metagross comes in. No! Hidden Power. Not able to click the Earthquake here, which would be an easy 2-hit KO. Hclat overpredicts with his attack. Now he goes Earthquake. No! And he's blown up on. Had he simply Earthquaked the turn before instead of Hidden Power, he very well could have cleaned this up. But he gets exploded on. And now it's down to a 2-on-2. Doll on Bliss. Earthquake again doesn't go for the boom if he even has it. That's going to allow a Soft Boil to get off. Blissey maybe could die to a critical hit here with a really good roll. Earthquake again. 36%. And soft-boiled again. If he's got boom, he must go for it. But he's got to be careful not to boom into the Tar. Goes Earthquake again, repeatedly hoping that the T-Tar switches in. But this time it's Ice Beam. Only Raikou keeping Hclat in this tour. He's going to need some luck. He's going to need crits or paras or full paras or what have you. It's the only way out of this. Here is Calm Mind. Ice Beam 19%. We see that the next Ice Beam will not break the sub of the Raikou. If it's a non-S-Toss Bliss, there is a vague small chance here for Hclat to win. Right here is a wonderful opportunity. He could Calm Mind again, or he could go for T-Bolt and get a crit or a para. He Calm Minds anticipating S-Toss, sure. Hclat now with a crit or a para will win because the T-Tar cannot survive the +2 Raikou. So it solely comes down to this matchup. The Raikou against the Blissey. There's the Ice Beam pop. Hclat cannot make another sub. The whole match is this turn. Hclat needs a crit or a powerful para for the win. Thunderbolt! Neither one comes. And there is the game and match sealing Ice Beam. Both Game 1 and Game 3 come down to Hclat giving himself a chance to crit to win, but he does not find it. Blissey holds up both times for Altina, and the All-American top 3 will have to wait for another year. The Singapore-born English resident Altina is going to make money in a career year in CALLOUS Invitational 5. He has looked like one of the very best and most dominant players throughout the tour. Absolutely deserves it, and he takes down Hclat here. There were a couple of key hacks in this. Certainly the full power on the focus punch turn was really obnoxious for Hclat, but at the end, the play that really stood out to me was when Salamence went for the hidden power flying instead of the earthquake into the Blissey. Obviously, I understand why, because you're doing 110 as opposed to 100 against the Bliss, and you're trying to actually kill it. I get it. But had he gone for Earthquake on that turn, I think we're looking at a completely different game, especially if the Salamence was EV'd to where it could survive the Ice Beam. Then that was a game-losing mistake for Hclat, because he would have been able to kill both the T-Tower and the meta with the Earthquakes, and then all he has to do is not get crit or frozen if he can survive the Ice Beam, and then he would kill the Bliss as well. So if I have to look back on one turn in this whole damn series, that would be the turn that I question the most. But obviously, without knowing the EVs of both Mons, you can't say anything for sure. Either way, it was a very close series, as I knew that it would be. It is unfortunate that both of these players who deserve it cannot make money. Hclat got to be kicking himself. He had 2 different opportunities in this tour to win that match and have guaranteed money. That would be the winner's bracket top 4 and this match, and he comes up short in both of them. And for the 3rd year in a row, he is going to be so close but so far. He is going to be our 4th place bubble boy, and Altina is in our top 3, the 3 money winners this year in no order because it hasn't been figured out yet. ABR, Altina, Marco P. Thank you guys for watching. Hell of a series, and the juicy, money-determining matches are all coming up. Just have to see who wins the winner's bracket finals, who has the all-important position of being in the upper bracket in the grand finals, and then we'll let this all play out. It's going to be Marco and ABR best of 3 to determine who's in that bracket, and then it's going to be all best of 5 from there on out, and we get down to the nitty-gritty. CALLOUS Invitational 5 drawing to an exciting conclusion. Bear with me. I will see you guys in the next video.